This is part 2 of the 2v2 on Bavaria, and the rules are no artillery. And my ally here is ROP Candy the Great. My army here is France, and my user is ROP King of France and Navarre. And so, we're both playing as France, and what happened earlier in part 1 was that my enemy, Prussia, he spammed a whole bunch of lights. I would say he brought like maybe an estimate. I estimate maybe like 12 lights, and so I continued to charge in this area with my more elite infantry, and I pretty much mopped up a lot of his lights. But it was at this point that he reformed. And now he's going to actually place a bit more firepower on me than I expected. Definitely not what I wanted either. And so here's the situation. I mean, I still get some of his lights in a bayonet engagement. And the funny thing is, I mean, his lights don't necessarily retreat that much. I actually lose the bayonet engagement from my elite infantry, which is pretty ridiculous. But it's pretty close here, and so that's pretty much what's going to happen. Now over here, there wasn't really much happening over here. Candy was in a United Provinces attacked Candy's opponent, and Candy he basically has all this light infantry right up over here, and he was firing continuous volleys on the United Provinces on its attack. And so, pretty much he begins continuously repelling the attacks of the United Provinces. And so, I mean, that's pretty much all United Provinces, I guess, can do, except because if they, because I had a center force here, and if they tried to support, if he tried to support his Prussian ally, then that would have definitely, delayed them. So, I guess United Provinces was trying to, I guess that's all they could really do at that point, but that's just really what's happening at the moment. And I make continuous charges against this unit of lights with my general. Alright, so as you can see here, I continuously charge his light infantry. And obviously I'm going to win this engagement. But later on, I mean, I start to lose a lot of the bayonet engagement with his lights, which is, I mean, like I said, pretty damn ridiculous. Pretty damn absurd, I would say. So, United Provinces, he begins definitely more of an offensive than earlier on. So here are more continuous bayonet engagements with lights, and I mean, I just lose it. What can I say? I mean, I charged, and for some reason my elite infantry didn't live up to the expectations that were set out for them, and they pretty much went out. So here Kenny notices that these blue guard infantry units are really heading towards his left flank, so he's gonna lay down some volleys and then charge. Now initially this was, very good. The blue guard started to get pushed back. Definitely their momentum got stopped, but eventually the blue guard, I believe, becomes victorious, because they are guard infantry. But still, Candy is routing some units. I mean, he's definitely winning this fight, this light infantry fight over here. Alright, so so here's a bayonet engagement, and I mean, I know my elite infantry is fairly exhausted, and they're definitely cut down in number a bit, but I really didn't expect them to lose this fight here. See, look at that. I mean, what's that? I mean, all that bayonet training for that. All right, so as you can see, you know, I charged with my Mason Duroy against one of his Prussian Jagger units, but that didn't work out. So my opponent won, but I mean, I wouldn't say I won the fight, but because I didn't. But I would say that I definitely deserved to win that fight because in a bayonet engagement, elite infantry is supposed to win. Okay, they might be outnumbered a bit, but still, I mean, it's freaking elite infantry against in a bayonet engagement against lights. I mean, they're always supposed to win that, unless it's like one man against 10 men, then maybe. But that wasn't really the case. It was pretty close all along, and my elite infantry just routed, I guess. So I would say I deserved the victory, but in the end I just didn't win that fight. Though I feel like I deserve to win that. So pretty much Candy is the lone wolf right here. He's pretty much lost. All my French forces are pretty much gone. So as you can see here, Candy eventually sends in his Swiss Guard, and he will charge against the rest of the Swiss infantry here in the Blue Guard. But United Provinces, they're gonna win here by a close battle, but they're still gonna win in that engagement. But Candy does succeed in winning this cavalry fight, and Chasseurs as well. They might be better in a melee engagement since they have 15. Since they're cut back 15 men rather than normal light dragoons, they might have a bit of an edge in the melee engagement. I'm not really sure. Or was it the volley that Candy got off first? Whatever it was, you can definitely see that Candy's cavalry's winning the fight. And Candy is also strengthening his right flank a bit. See these Balkis regiment, who not only are they supporting the cavalry fight, but they already pushed back this line infantry unit, and this line infantry unit, which is about to break, will also be pushed back as well. And see, they're already about to rout there. But on Candy's left flank, it's not going so well because United Provinces, they pretty much won that fight on the right, and since all my elite infantry lost a bayonet engagement with lights, I have to point that out again. My Prussian opponent will now help his ally and begin an attack on Candy's left flank. But so it doesn't seem Candy doesn't really seem in a good position right now, but he's going to win. It's very close, but he's going to win. And so I was very satisfied with that situation. And so as you can see here, right now, United Provinces, it looked a bit strong because it was keeping in check Candy's right flank, and it was winning on their right. But now, United Provinces had to send in a lot of units from their center and left to support the right. And so this is going to make the United Provinces basically retreat. And Candy still has quite a few of his Swiss Guard in close to full number. And as you can see, these Valkyries regiment didn't lose a man really. And Candy still has a good portion of his cavalry left. So, if he was going to face, one of them, which his opponent is the United Provinces, I would say that he's obviously going to win that fight. But as you can see, the Prussian light infantry, who did beat my elite infantry in a bayonet engagement, start to come back over here, and they're going to definitely place a bit of some devastating firepower on the rest of Kennedy's forces, but he still has a lot of elite infantry. As you can see here, the Swiss Guard, Bulky's regiment, still some lights, and most importantly, the cavalry, because they do not have the cavalry. Okay, and especially for these Prussian lights, without cavalry support for these guys, it doesn't look so good for them. And in terms of infantry, normal Swiss infantry against elite infantry, they're not really going to survive on that. So under the right circumstances, which this battle did happen under the right circumstances later on, did result in a victory for our forces and for the rest of Kenny's army. So these Prussian lights, are going to make a flanking maneuver on Kenny's left. And so it's at this point that Kennedy realizes, well, he has the cavalry support, so why not? So some cavalry charges. Now, I need to make note again that cavalry is... when cavalry charges lights for some reason in Empire, it's definitely cavalry definitely happens to be a lot weaker than in Napoleon when it charges lights. And as you can see here, in Napoleon, when cavalry would charge lights, it was a lot more advantage to the cavalry in Napoleon. But in here, the cavalry kind of is delayed a bit. It kind of loses momentum. But still, Kennedy continuously charges against these lights. Kennedy knows for sure that his elite infantry is going to just really mop up these guys over here. But so that's not necessarily so important. What's even more important, though, is not only the fact that the United Provinces is sending more infantry support to this hill area, but that the Prussian lights are still surviving, and that they're still in pretty good number. So United Provinces sends men, and so Kennedy's going to send more men. And these Swiss Guard, these 57 men of the Swiss Guard, they're definitely going to make a big difference in the fight here. So, truthfully, the Prussian lights didn't do that much. They came here, they fired off maybe like a few volleys, and especially into the forest, didn't really do that much. And Kennedy immediately caught them with the rest of his cavalry, with his remaining cavalry, and some of his infantry, and he pretty much caught them in a bayonet engagement. And so they're gonna go out, I believe, soon. So, like I said, Kennedy's elite infantry, they're going to be extremely victorious against these normal infantry units. So I guess, anybody can really guess what happens here. This unit of line infantry, they're not really going to stand against these elites. The bayonet engagement over here is already definitely preoccupying the Prussian lights, and when these two units of elite infantry make its way up this hill, catches them in a bayonet engagement, and then places superior volleys on these Swiss infantry, that's pretty much going to be the battle won, for us, and it's all good. It's all good from that point on.